So my daughter was holding a little USB to USB-C adapter, and I said to her, "Do you have a USB to USB-C adapter?" And she said, "No, it's food." Hi, welcome to Wheezy Mondays on a Tuesday. I didn't post yesterday. I was feeling kind of tired, and you know what? I failed at some of my goals last week. All of them, maybe. I've been saying I'm going to do no alcohol, no sugar, or less social media, less in general of all of those things, but almost none the rest of the year. And I was losing weight, and I was feeling good. And then last week, made an exception because it was the election, so I really delved into social media pretty hard and had some alcohol and some sugary things. Just once you make one exception, it's like a snowball of exceptions, because you feel like, at least me, I feel like, I made one exception and it feels good, and it's like, well, I'm already doing it. Might as well do the other things. I'm already failing a little bit at one thing, so I might as well fail at other things. And that is it's so sneaky, exceptions, because it's like slowly whittling away the barrier that you've built up until it's completely gone. And then you got momentum. And then it's like, well, yesterday I failed. I'm kind of in a failing, fail's the wrong word, just kind of in an indulging mood. And you just continue, because it's like, well, the goal or the way to improve is so far away at this point. I might as well just enjoy not improving for a while. And I did that for a week, and I felt crappy. I felt tired, unmotivated, just kind of confused as to what to do. I was like this was really indulging in the news and the political news. And nothing else even seemed desirable to do. Like, I didn't want to read a book. I didn't want to watch new things. I didn't want to make things. Just because I was just indulging in this one, like, collectively, a lot of the world was indulging in this one thing. And everything hinged on how that played out, whatever that thing was, which isn't true. I mean, it's very important. Elections are important. Results of elections matter. But it's also something that's out of my control at this point. Like, we're just waiting for results. We were. And now it's a whole other thing now. I don't necessarily want to get into the details of it. We'll see what happens, though. But it's out of my control, and I'm just sitting there watching and reacting and talking on social media and eating whatever. Just stop worrying about limiting what I eat, what I drink, because my mind is already too occupied with this thing. I think in general, when I find myself obsessed with the result of one thing, political or otherwise, whatever it is, and your feeling of success or failure or frustration or happiness all resides on this one thing, you're doing it wrong. Because life is much more complex than that. Certain points, yes. At certain times, one thing can be very important. But obsessing over it will blind you to other possibilities. Like, I have to get into this college. I have to pass this, or I have to ace this test, or write this thing that I'm writing has to be the greatest thing of all time. And if it's not, it's over. That's the wrong way of thinking, because it's always not true. There's always other options. Even if you fail at one thing, your life is going to go on. The sun will rise tomorrow. So there's always going to be more to do, unless you decide that you can't. The reason you can't is because you decided you can't, because you decided you failed at this one thing. So that's how you can devolve into bad habits, giving up, And so, like last week, I did start bringing back those habits, and I don't necessarily regret it. Like, I don't feel that bad about it, because sometimes you have to be kind to yourself, give yourself a little leeway, be easy on yourself. Don't constantly force yourself to do things that are hard all the time. But while I allowed that in, it would have been so easy to just continue going back to the old habits, because it's like, well, I tried, and I got the momentum now of not limiting my drinking and my sugar or whatever, and it feels good, so I'm going to continue. And then you forget. The mind forgets the goals you want. Not this time. I'm going back. Like yesterday, 0 alcohol, 0 sugar, 0 added sugar, and I feel much better today. Like, I was feeling tired and crappy yesterday, and I think it was a emotional and physical hangover of the previous week. It's not like I like really overindulged. It's not like I went on a bender or anything, but it just slowly sort of builds. Like, my sleep was getting worse. I didn't have as many hours of sleep. And the sleep I did have was worse. Having sugar and then having those sugar crashes kind of destroys my energy. It's worse. It's actually worse now if I go back to having sugar after that month of no added sugar or alcohol. Like, I'm noticing feeling worse afterwards. I think for me, if I quit, like when I initially quit alcohol, quit sugar, I didn't notice a grand improvement, like my life was suddenly amazing and I felt amazing all the time. It was just sort of a slow, incremental, feeling better, having more energy, more sustainable energy, longer energy, but not like amazing energy. But now going back, the difference of that level of normalcy I achieved to kind of unhealthy habits, the difference is much more noticeable to go from normal to bad habits. Like the feeling of low energy, crappy, just don't want to do anything, no motivation. It seems worse, even though it's probably the way it was before. Just going from there to there is really bad. But going from here to here isn't super noticeably amazing. It's just better. And that's probably part of the problem why it's so hard to maintain good habits. Because maintaining good habits means achieving a level of sustainable, healthy, normal energy, which isn't euphoria. So it might not feel like it's worth it all the time to just maintain good habits. It might feel better to just indulge. But then you're going from normal to bad, maybe good and bad's the wrong word. But like you're going from normal to feeling crappy. And so it's a hard sell to just constantly to say, don't do those things that are fun all the time, because you're going to lose this level of normal. Losing normal doesn't sound that bad. It's like, oh, so what? Life's short. Have fun. So it's I guess it just depends on what you value. Like, do you value short bursts of amazingness followed by just feeling really crappy and just not getting things done? Or do you value long-term sustainable being okay? It's not long-term sustainable being amazing, I guess. I think you got to be honest about that, because otherwise that's why people fall off, because it's not constant euphoria. It's like when I was quitting alcohol, when we did the month of no alcohol the first time. I talked about the pink cloud that can happen to people. It sort of happened for me, I guess. I think it happens more for extreme drinkers. If they quit alcohol, after a week or so of being off alcohol, you'll get into what they call the pink cloud, which does feel like euphoria. You feel amazing. But that tends to not last. So then when that goes away, it's disappointing, because it's like, wow, this is what no alcohol is like? This is great. And then it stops being great all the time. So then it's so easy to be like, well, okay, if it's not going to feel great, then why am I doing this? Which I think then you have to shift your idea of what is good and what isn't. Like, it's not necessarily about feeling amazing. It's not necessarily about bursts of feeling amazing. It's about the long-term feeling normal, feeling adequate, not feeling bad. And last week I really noticed, I was reminded of the feeling bad. Just this sort of underlying, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do that. Like if my daughter wants me to get up and go play or something, like there's like this resistance, this underlying subtle resistance, like, oh, I just want to sit here. I just don't want to do anything. And that's going to happen even if you have good habits, but it's going to happen a whole lot more if you have the bad habits. And today I'm noticing I feel a lot better after realigning, going back to normal. It's so easy to never go back to normal, to just be like, well, these bursts of fun are worth it, so I'm just going to do that and then feel crappy. I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm back to normal now, and it feels good. The hardest thing right now is to not indulge in social media and the news and the constant beating of the drum of this one thing that's happening in the political world. It's because everyone wants to see this resolve, and I don't think that's gonna. Well, number one, that's never gonna happen completely, but the way we want things to resolve immediately, the satisfaction we want, it's probably not going to happen. It's going to be slow transitions. And it's really, I just watched The Social Dilemma, or half of it, while I was working out yesterday. I probably watched the other half today on Netflix, about social media being bad for you. I mean, most of the stuff is stuff I already know, but it was interesting to hear from the CEOs and former CEOs and presidents of the companies that we interact with all the time, talking about it, and the effects on young people in particular, like suicide rates and suicide attempts going way up. It's eye-opening, and it made me really want to put my phone away. And so I'm trying to avoid it, mostly because I don't want to set an example for Ada. And it just gets me thinking about how the constant occupying my brain with the one thing, like I keep saying, is not helpful. It's so much better to just pick up a book, go deep into now various different deep dives into different fields, and read about things and learn about things on a deeper level, rather than the constant what do they say next? What do they say next? Who's going to win this? Who's going to win this? Like a political thing. Like, even though rarely is it that's end up being that simple. So then you're always unsatisfied. So then you want the next battle. You want to see who wins that. You want to see who wins that. It's always going to be an incremental back and forth. Hopefully. I mean, hopefully we don't, if it isn't, if it suddenly isn't this is getting political now, but like if it suddenly isn't incremental, that means one group wins and it's final. That wouldn't be good. I don't think that would be good. That I know saying that's gonna cause a lot of people to think that I'm like falsely playing both sides or like a false dichotomy or being centrist, which I'm not. If you follow me at all, you know that I definitely veer more to the left. But I also think it will be impossible to ever shut down the argument, and if we did, that would end up probably leading to worse things, violence. But regardless, the social media just draws us in, because these things don't resolve, because it's always going to be a forever argument, and because a lot of false stuff is constantly being thrown out there. I get messages from people trying to convince me of certain things. They'll send me news stories, and I'll read them, and generally it's not convincing or not true. There's a lot of false stories being thrown out there all the time from every direction, and it's on my mind a lot, and it was on my mind a lot yesterday, and that's probably why I didn't put up a video yesterday, because it's hard to, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to get too political, because the entire point of what I'm saying is that this stuff draws us in too much probably, and is a source of a lot of our conflicts. I also have this weird, after watching Social Dilemma, but also in general, this weird relationship with you guys in that I am making social media. I'm making money from advertising, which they talk about a lot in the Social Dilemma. And early YouTube, I was very prolific in early YouTube and brought a lot of people in, probably, to YouTube. Was that good? I don't know. I just did it because I enjoyed making things, and I figured out a way to make a living doing it because I enjoy it. And but I also don't want to perpetuate the bad aspects of it. And so I guess I'm going back and forth in my mind about what I should do going forward. I'm going to probably continue making the things I'm making on the main channel. I'm genuinely just constantly trying to make useful things. And I don't know if I can figure out a way to do it without being too distracting, without being too what's the word? I don't know. Without just perpetuating helping these companies, these social media companies, to just hijack your time. And that's what entertainment is. That's what online media is. The goal of these companies is to take as much time from you as possible, because that's how they make money. So, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm at 19 minutes ish of this video, and all I'm doing is sitting here talking to you, and maybe you're doing something else while you're listening. But I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird time we're in where I'm trying to create something useful for you, but the medium I'm using to create something useful, and the goal of and the thing that I'm making is taking time away from you, basically. And the means that I'm using to do it is also helping the companies involved continue to perpetuate this system, which could easily be used in ways that aren't helpful. So that's a weird aspect of where we're at today, and I don't necessarily know what to do about it. Sometimes I fantasize about figuring out how to just go to my own website, which I have, but I don't put a lot of time into, and just figure out how to upload videos to my own server and have my own system of notifying you specifically about my videos that are not even on YouTube. And it's just my own personal system. And just fund it by Patreon probably, or something, some crowdfunding rather than advertising. But is that better? I don't know, because then suddenly I'm relying on people's money rather than companies' money through advertising. So is there ever a solution? I don't know. And if I did that, I'm probably not going to do that, because that would cost more for me probably to pay for servers and maintain the website and everything. And less people would be there probably. What I have to say would go out to less people, because there's no system already built in where people are. So that's the reality of the world we live in right now. I don't know what to do about it. I'm just going to keep trying to make good things. I guess that's the best thing I can do. Use the system for good. Try to. And, yeah, that's about it. I realize as I say that a lot of people accuse me of, when I'm making these Wheezy Monday videos, accuse is a strong word. They say that I feel down. You look down, you look sad. I'm not. I'm talking a little quietly right now because China and Ada are upstairs watching something. So sometimes that might make it seem like I feel down. I'm also not editing, so I'm talking the way I normally talk, which is pretty slow. I am talking about heavier things right now. I feel good though. Like today I feel really good. And next thing I'm going to be doing is working on the coloring. We tried color therapy for a month with Iz and Johnny Harris. I'm starting to put that together right now, and I think it's going to be a good one. And then after that, it's actually the next video that's going to go up is why do people like getting married. That's going to go up soon. That one's basically done. You may have seen it if you follow me on Patreon. You may have seen that already. It's early released up there. What else am I working on? That's it for now. I'm working on a screenplay with my friend Matt. I've probably told you about this on Wheezy Mondays. It's hard for me to remember what I've told you on Wheezy Mondays versus the Patreon videos that I do every weekday. But that is going pretty good. Slowly, incrementally getting it together. It's a screenplay is a big thing, especially if you want it to be good. Watching China and I are basically just waiting for new episodes of Great British Baking Show and Taskmaster, and we're in the middle of Glow, and I started watching Queen's Gambit. Really like that. Still working out at least 4 times a week, running, and it's all good. Faltered a little last week, but we're getting back to it. And I think right now, like I'm gonna just keep reiterating this, but like last week, I think the big motivation now is how good I feel today versus, or how not bad I feel today versus how I felt towards the end of last week. It's like that was a really good reminder of how much better you feel, how much more normal. I can't, like, to get back to my point that it's not euphoria, but how much more normal you feel when you don't indulge in those bad habits. So that's about it for today, I think. Yeah, that's where my mind's at. I feel like I've properly represented where my mind's at right now without getting too political. Okay. I do these kind of videos every single weekday on Patreon. And this is a podcast if you want to listen to it rather than look at my face. And there's a playlist of Wheezy Monday videos up here. Probably the newest video will be up on this screen as well. And thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. This is amazing that I'm able to do this, and I'll try to use these powers for good. Okay.